Start.
I don't know either.
But hi guys, this is the first episode of the BOMBOCAST, and today we are with three amazing guys from our university. Okay, let's do a quick presentation for those who don't know.
Thank you. My name is Lorenzo, and I study MEDTEC 5th year.
Okay.
So we are all from the same year, and we are from the first cohort of MEDTEC.
Yes.
Super.
My name is Luca, and thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure for me. I started this path 5 years ago together with Lorenzo and my other friend here. I live the world. Yeah.
So hello everyone, I'm Antonio. I'm also a 5th year MEDTEC student. As you can say, I come from Sicily, so you have people from around the country, but also around the world actually. Yeah, let's start.
Oh, let's start. Let's go. I would start with what are your origins? What is your background? Where do you come from? And what brings you to MEDTEC school?
I studied scientific high school in Milan. I was born in Napoli, and I studied in Milan my high school, my middle school, and I wanted to do medical school. The story is that I was recovered in Los Angeles when I was like 14 or 15 years for pneumonia, and there it was one of the best hospitals in the world, and so that feeling of being cared.
What's pneumonia?
Pneumonia is the infection of lungs.
Okay.
It was a bacterial pneumonia, so I got it in the plane, and as soon as I got out of the plane I was like 40 degrees temperature. Anyways, I was in the hospital, and I was so cared for by the healthcare workers there, by the doctors there, and I said, okay, I want to do this. Then I decided to do the test for Manitas, Unimed, and I got in. That time the test was after the Unimed one. There was the MEDTEC one at September. Like I had already started the Unimed course, and I did the MEDTEC course, the MEDTEC test. I got in, and the story is I was let's say the last day of possible to decide to change from Unimed to MEDTEC, and it was all decision by the instinct, by the gut. And I like to feel my gut very much in my decisions, and therefore I decided last minute to.
And it's an important decision because like you are from all the first pool, okay, that started this path, and is not for everyone to decide to start first year, new course, new university, because when you started Humanitas was pretty new, 5 years old, so. Not risky move.
Did you have to trust your instinct a lot if you start such a path and you are the first cohort? I feel like I had a similar experience. In the beginning, I knew I wanted to do medicine. I loved the life sciences. And my background is actually classical high school. So I studied different topics like ancient Greek, Latin, but I was fond of sciences. At the same time, I didn't want to leave mathematics and physics behind. And so I said, well, if there is some engineering, maybe I can get some perspective also from that field of knowledge. And once I saw this test, I decided to jump in. And I also did the test for medicine at Humanitas and also other public universities here in Italy. But eventually, my decision was already taken.
I felt this strong passion towards like medical stuff and caring for people, but then I don't want to renounce to scientific subjects like math, physics, and I think that everyone in MEDTEC has a very strong propension towards math and physics, which are for me are the best subjects, but it's obviously personal.
Yeah. But let me highlight that you don't need to have already a great knowledge in these engineering subjects, because they will be covered all again from the beginning.
And also you came from classical.
Yeah, I came from classical studies, so very little maths and physics. Well done, but little. And as I came here, I met new topics, but it was really fun to start learning them.
Yeah, I think, as you said, you don't really need to have previous knowledge as much as people expect when they ask us questions during the admission test. I mean, maybe just for the admission test, that's of course something you need to get in. But after you're in the process, you really are required to just have the drive and the desire to learn those kind of could be considered like extra subjects in a medical degree, but they're not extra once you are in the course. You realize how central even those abstract mathematical equations, like how weird they look, they are actually very powerful for your medical studies as well. So I honestly, I had a similar background to Lorenzo, so I also did a traditional scientific high school. There was not, I mean, I don't have a particularly inspiring story to tell, but I think, again, scientific curiosity drives you in the process. I actually wanted to be a designer for all my life until I think until I was 15 or 16 years old. I felt like more talented for arts in general, like architecture or whatever. Then I got obsessed with science, but it wasn't medicine. I mean, it was science. So at some point I wanted to do physics. I was very fascinated by astrophysics. But then I realized that for my work, I needed to have something which was much more social in terms of everyday personal contact with people. So research is what I'll do, but you know, at the end, I think really, as I said, scientific curiosity and the need to do social work drove me to this choice. And I also have an interesting story because, again, we are the first cohort. You have to take decisions quickly. I took the test, I think, September 6th, 5 years ago. And 10 days after, I had to move to Milan. So I had no house, I had no flat for 1 month. Because, yeah, they're from Milan. I'm from another region, which is kind of far. So I had to live like in hostels. I had like to change room every night because, you know, it's not easy to find a house in 10 days.
Yes.
I had no family here, so. But it was honestly like, now it's good memories. I mean, it's not. It's challenging from the beginning.
That's exactly what I was gonna ask. Like now, looking back, is it worth it? Was it worth it? And are you happy with the decision that you made?
Yeah, I'm happy about the decision I made, and I would have never changed it. Like it's exactly what I was searching for. Not necessarily in terms of, let's say, knowledge, because I didn't even know what to expect from this course when it started, but in terms of what it gives you as a formamentis, as how to think about science in a way that is not ultra specific to a subject, but instead it gives you a perspective that is as broader as possible. Like you have a good knowledge of medicine subjects, a good knowledge of engineering subjects, and therefore you're not confined to a specific field of science, of research, of medical field, of in general scientific research in general. Therefore you are kind of pushed to broaden your mind, your perspective, and consider how it is important to have the contribution of different fields into the same path.
I think that's also what push people towards this type of degree. You know, you really feel the need to have a very wide knowledge, because it's not. It's like I think that this course. Also, the main reason why I was interested in was that there are two kinds of knowledge fused together. The one with medicine, which is more like, you know, mnemonic, and this is more the biological type of let's say knowledge. You know, you learn stuff, but maybe sometimes doctors really don't like not doctor, but medical students really don't like think about what they're studying. They just memorize stuff. While there, on the other part, engineers that don't memorize and just like reason on things. And there was the two type of knowledge that I want to have. Both skills, which are very important skills. And another question, because like talking with Antonio when like last year, because I joined MEDTEC because I knew Antonio because we lived together in the Collegio, was like I get the impression that you like you, because we are at the almost the last year of your path, are more, you feel like more doctor, more engineer, or you feel like that you have the same level of engineering and medicine, let's say?
I can answer this question by adding something on what we were discussing before. When the course was released, so the first few weeks, we had haters all over the country, maybe even the world, saying, "Oh my God, these are not going to be doctors. These are not going to be engineers. They think they can rule the world just with this double degree." And I don't think that's the purpose of this course, because from what Lorenzo was saying, when you study these subjects, you understand and you appreciate the complexity behind things, and maybe you're not a super expert in everything, in every single thing you do. Maybe it's not mechatronics, artificial intelligence, whatever. But I think it teaches you the scientific reasoning and the approach to collaborate with other, even engineers and scientists. So what I feel most, again, I want to be a neurosurgeon in the future. So I would say I feel most like a doctor. But it's not that I forgot. It's not that I will not use in my engineering knowledge in my future life, because I want to do research, and so I can put that knowledge onto my work. So I think something which is hard to explain and to believe if you're just started the course is that I don't think of myself like a doctor or like an engineer. It's a stupid name, but I think like a MEDTEC. So it's hard to separate the two things. As I said, as we said, it's the reasoning. So it's not that you reason for one thing as a doctor and for another thing as an engineer. It's just hard to.
And even people from BOMBOCAST right now, like today, compared to 5 years ago, they still have doubts and they always ask us, but how can you do this in the same amount of time? Are you really doctors? Can you really be surgeons? So what are your thoughts on this? Because here in this environment of the university, you're with medicine students, so what would you say?
They are very scared about it. Like they think that at the end they won't give them the med degree and they won't be doctors. They think like that.
Well, after 5 years, I can say that it's not really about the quantity of study, about the amount of hours that you spend studying things, but it's more about the quality and with like what you can get away with after every subject. And this is like very valid both for engineering and medicine. We don't learn, first of all, we cover most, if not all, the topics that doctors and engineers cover. At the same time, I really appreciate once you can get away with a few basic knowledge, but very important and solid of each subject, and understand every detail that is thrown at you during the lessons, during the study on books. And later on, is, as Lorenzo was saying, is the shape of the mind. And but also we have got also a broad range of experiences, practical experiences in the hospital, in the laboratories here at Humanitas. Here, but also abroad actually, from which we learn things that there is no other way to learn. So yeah, after 5 years, you know, at the beginning I wasn't sure what I would ended up doing in the future, but you look back now and you say, all of these actually serve the purpose. Now I can see more clearly my future, what I actually want to do. At the beginning, maybe a little bit of indecision, you know, a doctor, yes, but also let me study engineering and let's see what I will come up with. And now I can connect the dots back in the past. But it's not something that you can do from the beginning. You have to trust the process and, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like to give. No, go.
No, just to add on this, like, let's be honest. Medical students will never remember all the things that they studied during their career and during their 6 year study.
Yeah.
So it's nonsense to think that since we are giving less hours to medical subjects, we're learning less, because it's not important what exactly you're learning, the specific concept of anatomy that you're learning. you gotta study 7 times anatomy to remember it. It's not if you do 10 hours more during the year that you will be a better medical doctor.
Obviously.
It's exactly what you learn during the path, as Luca was saying, that makes you a good doctor later on. Not the single subject that you're studying in that moment. That it's important that you study them, but it's not what makes you a good doctor, I believe.
Yeah, that, like when I had the same feeling like doing I don't know. I did 1 year of Bocconi, and then like the few things that I remember from the exam that I take are, I think, like the 20%, which is the basic knowledge of each exam that I took, but not of course every details and stuff like that. It is right, like I think exactly the same, and it's I think that's the strength of our course, like that the very few bases that will remain to us are very important and allow us to do like many things, and the fundamentos that we have would be like will be very strong in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. To cut it short, there's no essential part of the medical curriculum which is cut out of the program. So we're focusing on a methodology and a spirit that a student should have. You know, being a medical doctor is a continuous learning process from the first year of medical school to residency. And in university, you're also expected to kind of do your own work. I mean, there shouldn't be a professor saying you have to study this, and this. If you feel like you are lacking on some concepts, if you feel like you're not able to reason on a clinical problem, maybe it's something about you that you have to work harder. And I think that's what we do. I mean, maybe we have less frontal lectures, not less. I mean, maybe we have more subjects in a semester, so it's kind of hectic the pace. But I think we maybe do an important personal work to make sure that we're able to reason in a medical way. I mean,
let's like move to a more like practical question, because like many that will like listen to the podcast like think about joining MEDTEC, and they are maybe scared about like
The future.
yeah, but also no, I was thinking more about the time management. Like, because you have a very like a lot of stuff and things to study, and as you said, like to catch up with the lessons and with the concept they are explaining to you, maybe like you have less hour of a subject now. Now we're seeing it with biochem. Like they explain you stuff, but they go very fast, and so you have to revise things home. But it's not because of fault of the professor, just they go fast. Like how, like what do you do in your free time? I mean, do you have free time?
Yeah, I can answer this question. It's very important to me because I'm a very strong advocate of living your teenage, if you're a teen, or your 20s. And honestly, I hate when my classmates. We are often asked this question because everybody says, "How can you get 2 degrees and have a social life in your 20s?" And I don't want to do like, but many people say we don't have a like emos. We don't have a life. We don't live. We stay here all day, every day, every week. And I mean, on one hand, it's true that we have a busier calendar than other students. But I feel like again, it's your personal decision. I think we lived a very different process because our first years of university were in the pandemic period. Mm-hmm. So maybe the first years were most of the first years were just studying and exams. But I realized that after my third year, so when things were moving on, I always try to commit some of my time to like sports, social activity, and even extracurricular stuff like student societies, what we're doing here, and it never really affected my curriculum. Maybe it just empowered it. So again, I don't think there is tips, but it's your personal commitment. So how you believe it's important for you to do sport, friends, and so on. But you can do it. I mean.
Yeah, of course. Like I think so. But like you touch a little bit the theme of extracurriculum stuff and etc. Like I think about many societies and like association that there are here. I think about like Mission Brain, one of the most let's say important here in Humanitas, SISM, and Neurological Society. What's the component of association and extracurricular stuff in your daily life, in your path? Do you think it's good, bad? It's a loss of time? What are the possibilities that they give to you in general?
Yeah, sure. Well, no, it's absolutely not a waste of time. You get to learn a lot because once you enter an association, like SISMA is an association of medical students, and we try to organize seminars, courses for other medical students.
And they are all in
MEDTEC.
Humanitas.
Yeah, but this association is actually national, so every university has its own local committee, let's say. But you get to receive a lot of value from doing this, like organizing the activities, managing a team of people, leadership, communication skills. That's, I think, a set of attributes that are relevant if you want to become a doctor. And it's not just that you learn them in the associations only. That's one way. There are infinitely many possible ways from A to B, but in this case, this is one of them. And everything that we do is goal-oriented. So we have got a vision about the future of medicine, about how a good doctor should be, and we try to work on that very hard. So I like it. About extracurricular activities like this, but also others, I think one major point is that you have to be passionate about them.
Of
So
course.
you have to make like work, job, let's say, and pleasure coincide as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So also with Lorenzo, we are doing a lot of research outside of the curriculum in the lab, but we enjoy doing it a lot.
Yeah, also because you have like very few time, and so if you don't enjoy the few time that you have,
Yeah.
the free time that you have is
You'll burn out.
yeah, you'll burn out
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly. But time management is also, if I can say, this is very personal. It varies a lot. I've met very different experiences, and it depends also on how you study, on how you decide to prioritize information that you memorize for the exam, what you have to retain a long term instead. It's something that you learn in the process. You don't come here and are ready immediately. Some are more ready than others, but then eventually they will catch up and learn
have
their own
to.
way. They have to, yeah, definitely. But I think that's with every course of study, any possible one. Isn't it?
Yeah, maybe I can say something about other societies, about Mission Brain, which is it's a different concept because it's an international. And again, this is something quite unique in this university because we were the first chapter in Italy to be part of the community, which is international. And why is it unique in Humanitas? Because I think there is a spirit and a drive to empower students in following his choices, like opening a society. You go to the office and they say, okay, we'll give you the resources that you need, and could be funding, could be communication, and the students feel like they're somehow empowered, so they
Yes, of course.
participate. And this is something you don't find in other colleges, which is, I would say, part of what we were discussing. So it's not just about the subjects, it's not just about the syllabus, but it's also the methodology. So how you approach this, like these social activities. How one day you will be talking to like important associations, maybe to ask for a research fund or for like a clinical mission. It's just it really teaches you how to be. I don't want to say a good person because it sounds very philosophical, but really like an impactful. Yeah, that's what I meant. Like an impactful medical doctor, which is not just a doctor who knows stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like personally, I am following like some stuff with the Neurological Society and Mission Brain, and also SISMA sometime. But is like the thing is like I think that here if you want to do stuff, the more you are engaged and the more you are passionate, the more they help you and you can do whatever you want. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Also
not whatever,
between,
but if you have a good idea, if you have a good idea, they will try to help you
you,
somehow.
yes.
Also between peers, I think, which is
Yes.
very important, not just professors or students office and students, but also between peers. Like we are both first years, they are fifth years, and we are both very interested in brain, and right now we are part of Mission Brain. So this is really good. Like the opportunity that you give us, I think it's really good and we appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. When you said about your research and stuff, it came to my mind the first time the second time we met. It was outside here, in the innovation building. I was very fascinated about the project of the fact that you were carrying on a project very important. I mean, I think that is very important. I hope that it will be very important. And I want that you will tell us more about it, because I am so passionate and gasato about.
Okay, yeah. We also are very hyped about our research projects. It's all about being enthusiastic, as you said, and they said, if you have that drive to go and deepen a topic, here there is a possibility to do it. Like you go to a professor or to peers or directly to laboratories, and you want to study a particular subject. You want to understand what happens. Certain mechanism of a disease, what can be done by us to solve those problems, and this is something that fuels your passion for medicine and for helping people, and it's something that it has real impact, which gives you more satisfaction than let's say just studying. So studying is important for you. It's important for your career, and it's important to becoming a good doctor, but having those type of experiences firsthand help you understand what you're studying. Those things can be really applied on the real world, and you can do something about them.
And you can learn also more, I think.
Yeah, you can learn
Yeah.
more. You can learn more. Let's say it's research is not easy. Like we did a bit of research since we were in the third year.
Can you tell us about
Yeah, it actually started from a project that we did in a course of pathology, immunology, and microbiology, and there were these group projects where they asked us to do a sort of simulate an experiment that we would do to try to answer to a research question, or do, for example, analytical study on a specific data set. I don't know. So it was about microbiology, and we found this topic about genetic engineering, so modifying the genes and the DNA of cells to make them another entity, like modifying the genes of a bacterium to make it a biological drug against cancer. That was our first idea. That was then we liked it so much, we were so passionate that we kept asking to people, to professors, to help us put it in practice.
Okay. And what did they say?
And they said, yes, of course.
So they were
Let's do it.
responsive to your idea.
They were responsive. They said, let's do this.
Because it's not for not everywhere you have this possibility.
Exactly.
Mainly in the I think states universities.
Exactly.
They are
It's
more
very-
on the top of the mountain. They see you the prole that doesn't know anything and doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Not always, but it's easier.
Yeah, I would say it's important that when you do these types of things, you don't go pretending to have something ready for you.
Yeah.
Like nobody is there to give you something. You gotta take it. You gotta do make your own project. There's nobody telling you, okay, there's this project, why don't you want to join it? They're not gonna write you an email and ask you if you want to cure cancer. If you want to do it, you've gotta work for that. So I think that's the most important thing, at least to me, to as attitude as a student, to not like I see something like that sometimes in students, maybe younger students, that they kind of expect professors to give them, I don't know, something ready, some projects that they don't even have to study that much or to work that much to achieve. It's something that it's not real world.
If it would be easier, everyone would
Yeah.
do it, no?
Yeah, exactly. And if I can add something to this,
of course.
don't stay still. If you like something, if you're enthusiastic about something, or just have got the idea, oh, I would like to delve deeper into that, please move and try to do as much as you can to put your hands on that. You can contact professors here, you can contact professors overseas. We went to America twice because our university also gives these travel grants sometimes. We all, with the three of us actually, all got at least one of them. And so that also helps to have these experiences. But for instance, the way to talk to professors of other universities, other countries, that's something you get to learn. And you have to practice in order to be able to achieve your goals. As Lorenzo was saying, they won't fall from the sky. You gotta go out there and take them. But yeah, so to continue a bit what Lorenzo was saying, we at the beginning we were interested in genetic engineering and synthetic biology as a whole. We had one experience back 2 years ago in America, another experience this February in America again in Silicon Valley, and now
Stanford.
Stanford.
Say it.
Yeah.
It's good.
And now we would actually build on that and possibly build a startup, a company. We have got a vision and we are looking for tools that we can use in order to translate that into practice and hopefully medical practice in the future. But you know, if you like something, you have to try and talk to people. Also in the university there is the technology transfer office, so you're not alone, even if you want to build a startup.
That's very cool.
That's very
cool.
Yeah,
That's very cool.
It's not something you can find in many Italian universities.
Exactly.
Yeah, because here there are different, let's say, possibilities that the university allow you, which are like strictly related to the fact that we are talking about a research hospital, and they have a lots of fund, and it's a private hospital, so lots of possibility.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned the Stanford and the travel grant, etc. And I know that also Antonio did it. And I talked with you all three personally about your project. I was so fascinated by them because they really show what we were talking about before, no? That people that are here are very interested in knowledge and wide knowledge, because they are all projects with a very strong connection between bio world, engineering world, and stuff. And what are the steps that brought you to the, I would say, UCL laboratory, and how does the grant work? Because in very short few words, because it seems that maybe you can get it or maybe not, but effectively you can use the money of university to bring your project.
So you're talking to three people that are obsessed with research, as you know. I think most of us started at the third year. So you can do research on your own, just contacting a professor. There is a strong network here. So as we said, there is the potential. You just have to work for it, and you can go everywhere in the world. There's also another program which is called Virgilio, which is a 3-year based research program for which you have to spend 1 month just 1 month in the lab every year. So I was basically looking for a research opportunity for my rotation back in last year for September, and I got in contact with this surgeon who is a pediatric surgeon at UCL, and I really liked his profile because I think it's similar to what I aspire to become in the future. So he's a surgeon, which is, you know, takes quite a lot of time, but he's also like a PI for a research project, which is a very big, I mean, it's a very big investment in image-guided surgery and all of these things. But it may sound a lot only engineering, technological, but there's a lot of life sciences behind it. So basically, I went there just as part of the program Virgilio. You can also
because maybe someone don't know that you can be both. You can take both routes, no? Both be a surgeon and follow a research path,
like
which
an
sounds
academic.
quite strange.
Yes, which is something I hate when I say I want to be a neurosurgeon, people often say you're either a surgeon or a researcher, which is something that I understand because it takes a lot of time in the week to be a surgeon. However, I think that like this surgeon would do, maybe you're not the person who is doing the pipettes or the cell cultures or the all the fluorescence, the staining, the PCR, whatever kind of techniques. But what was inspiring to me is that this surgeon had the time every week to meet with the PhD students, with the postdocs, and discuss the ideas, how the experiments were doing. So it was a very influential part of the research process in that department. So that's how I would see myself in the future, and I want to be a surgeon scientist somehow. So try to combine both of these things, which is not. I don't think it's true that it's impossible, because that's exactly what my mentor was doing in London.
But he's also like talking, like what I get is like that is not very common in Italy, that a surgeon is very interested in maybe the surgeon is doing research, is writing papers, is carrying on his stuff, or her stuff, but maybe he's not really part of the process. So it's good that do you have this opportunity to get in contact with another context, another research context where these things are possible?
Yes, exactly. And yeah, I mean, I spent some time in the laboratory here in Italy, which is something, you know, normally yes, we have very big initiatives, but also you're welcome to go abroad. So it's your decision.
So in UCL, what essentially are you doing?
So right now, I was working, back in September, I was working on fluorescence guided surgery. So basically they were developing specific fluorescent markers to enlight tumors during the operation, to make sure to guide resection of the tumor. Mostly they were neuroblastomas, because the surgeon he's a specialist in neuroblastoma. So I was working with this a very talented PhD student most of my time, working on like cell cultures of different tumor lineages, and understand how the antibodies would behave, how the antibodies would acquire basically the tumor during the operation. And this implies a lot of also genetic expression, like of specific markers. So it was a very good mix for me for all my interests. But now I'm working on a similar project using a different technology, which is like a spectroscopic camera, which is basically doing instead of doing a traditional photo like you do with your iPhone, like is red, green, and blue, the RGB format, which is very common. You basically do an acquisition with many different wavelengths to somehow acquire like a spectrum of the tumor. So during the operation, potentially, it's just experimental, so it's not yet clinically well developed. But basically, the surgeon is guided in the resection process when the tumor is not so easy to distinguish from a normal tissue. So sometimes what happens is that the surgeon may leave unexpectedly some tumor tissue in the operating field, and then the tumor may regrow, and so the patient has to go to surgery again, which is not very complicated. Now I'm getting more passionate about this context of image-guided surgery, which has a lot to do also with AI and data processing.
It's the future.
Yeah,
literally.
hopefully.
Yes, and also because like talking about AI, you open a broad argument, which is the technology engineer part, which is like we didn't talk too much about Polytechnico, but it's like present a lot, especially in the first 3 years of the degree. And from what I get, like you fully how do you say? exploit the possibility that and knowledge that the Polytechnico from the engineer part gave to you. And like I'm very interested, like we saw that you can be a surgeon and also carry some research project. We saw that you as a medtecher can like probably found a startup in bioprinting and bioengineering, which like as we like I know that as you said some time ago will be the next revolutionary technology in the future, and
Definitely.
I think so also like yesterday because like in Humanitas we had the opportunity to follow different speeches and seminars, and like yesterday we followed speech from Simona Lodato, our histology professor, which was amazing about like on organoids and stem cells, which are like I think that they are not exactly the same subject argument, but
yeah.
express the potential of
Biology, yeah.
yes, of
She does
biology.
great research,
Yes.
innovative research. Yeah.
And the thing is like, how do you see you like in 10 years, or what are your future project that or something that you want to work with or on, and you think that will be the best way to exploit your path?
We're ambitious, you're right. Because you gotta be ambitious, because like humans are born to be that. Humans are born to build great things, and I believe that, and I believe that that's my path, and I believe that what I studied for is to build something that could ameliorate and improve the lives of people around the world, and that's something that we, I think, share about as a perspective about the world. And personally, right now we are thinking, me and Luca, to co-found a startup, but let's say we are open to anything that can help us achieve the ability to put your ideas into practice and let the people around the world, researchers, benefit from that. So that's my personal...
Yeah, I agree a lot with what Lorenzo said, and basically I find that my path will lead me in 10 years to work in a team of people, because if you want to solve problems like in medical practice but also in research,
but you want to be both more a researcher or a doctors? Shut the question.
This is a hard question. Research and doctors and engineers.
Yeah. No, well, to me, for instance, I like research a lot, but I also did love spending time in the wards, in the hospital. I mean, I think that's really some part you need to see, even if you want to spend your future job as a researcher or as a biotech entrepreneur, because you get to learn really what's happening and what needs to be done, what are the problems, how people are trying to solve them. So that experience to me is invaluable. But so in 10 years, yes, hopefully I will be working in a team of people, maybe in a startup founded by us, maybe in another.
In the Silicon Valley.
Or maybe in Italy, because also that's good to bring what you learn abroad or elsewhere to Italy, our country. But at the same time, I think this is the way I see life. You've got to be very plastic, and fluid. You have to embrace challenges and experiences, and then after you see what you learn, you decide what to do next.
What to do.
So importantly, I didn't start MEDTEC knowing my future. It's just now that I see, okay, I want to do these things. I want to democratize. We want to democratize synthetic biology, maybe in the labs, and to develop therapies for patients, and
which is quite ambitious.
Of course.
I mean,
quite ambitious, but
we want to be part of that process, let's say. But
no, but it's good. I restate that maybe you will do it.
hopefully, yeah. But I didn't know that when I started. I didn't start MEDTEC saying I want to learn and improve synthetic biology. I just said I like this merged vision, or having different perspectives, not being just focused on one side of the coin, but also on the other as much as possible. And now I look back and I say, wow, that helped a lot, because now that I want to do these things, I have a background to do that.
Yes. Yes,
Exactly.
of course.
Exactly.
Antonio?
Yes, I already anticipated my dream, I think, a few minutes ago. I'm very passionate about neurosurgery, and especially brain tumors, both in adults and maybe especially children. So I think I would love to be a pediatric neurosurgeon or neurosurgeon in general. But as I said, for me, research is something like I cannot exclude from my life. It's not a black or white choice. And I think, again, because of our background, it's something that we need to invest on. Like even the technology I'm working on basically right now, I think is a good example where like a figure like us can solve some clinical problems that have not been maybe completely solved or approached correctly in the past. And I'm not saying we will not do mistakes, but I think that we have the power to somehow change the workflow and the methods of some, we could say, clinical problems in research. So it's not something that I want to exclude in my life from being
But
a neurosurgeon.
research has been like a central topic, no?
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
thinking about that personally, when I came to MedTech, I was not so passionate about research. I was more interested like in the medicine field from the the job point of view. But now I feel like that in this university, people that surround us every day, very push you towards this field, and they make you passionate because like you're continuously hearing about new things that they're developing and discovering. And it's like, how do you feel like this? Because me personally influenced a lot. You think that you had the same path, or you came and said, I want to do research for the rest of my life, even when you were
Can I?
very...
Maybe because I think it flows the process of what I was saying. Again, I'm passionate about, for example, pediatric brain tumors, and at some point you realize that most of them have a desperate ending, and you reason on that, and you think, what can I do for it? And I think throughout the years, again, because of our studies, but also because we were into this system where they always tried to somehow stimulate our thinking and our critical process, also to solve, to design studies or whatever. When you have such a big problem, so for example, incurable brain tumors, you try to reason, what can I do about it? If for example, I will be a neurosurgeon, but some tumors are inoperable, but so how can you do about it? The only solution you think about is research. So I think it's not just when you hear us saying this so much, I think because maybe again we are ambitious and we are believers. So it's not that because we work for our papers, or it's not just about it's not a trend in this uni. I think if you grow in a certain way, you understand that sometimes the solution is that one.
And do you think that it has a sense to be medtechers, let's say this
Yes.
trendy name, and if you don't want to do research?
Of course,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
definitely. But like about what you said, like people don't have to worry. Students that are about to get into medtech don't have to worry if they want to do medicine, they want to do research. It's not a real question because hopefully in the future, as Antonio was saying, research, science, will be an integral part of medicine. It's not that they are two words that are distant and they don't communicate. If you want to advance in medicine, you need research. If you want to advance in the good way in research, you need to have the medical knowledge. Therefore, these two fields are not two entities separated. And also, everything that we study in MEDTEC and all the innovation that comes from research, everything will be applied in the medical practice. It's not that something won't be applied. everything that you study that is innovative
Mhm.
is something that will create a value in medical practice. So just don't worry about this.
Yeah. But also because all the opportunities we said is again the network to go abroad. We focus on research because that's our background, but basically people do this for any kind of stuff, even like clinical rotation. You can go to Mayo Clinic and do again general surgery rotation. So the things we said apply to clinical stuff and whatever else. So yeah, you don't need to be fond of research to be a medtech.
Yeah, exactly. Many of our mates, for instance, said they follow a clinical excellence track. So they go
Mhm.
more in the hospital
Mhm.
and in the wards, both here and abroad. So I think it's very achievable to deepen that part of medtech. But you don't need really to be focused on research. All that we do is not mandatory. It's,
Yes, of
yeah.
course.
I also had another question because we, as medtech students, start clinical rotations at in our 4th year, and the medical students they start at 3rd year. So during your rotations, when you were in the hospital, did you see any differences on how you approach the wards and everything?
No, I would say it's very variable depending on the person. So some individuals are a bit shy, they will take longer to help and do stuff. Others are really fast, and it's not something that depends on medtech or medicine.
Mhm.
And we start, as you said, in 4th year, but that's good. And then what you see there is to learn and not to you give, but you give in the way you can. You're not like a hunter giver or
Mhm.
or something else. You go there, you learn what is to be done and what you can do. You have to like develop a kind of pushing spirit to get involved, be useful in some way to healthcare workers. And I think that's very common in both medicine and medtech.
Yeah.
And also because maybe like from what I get from like other experience from other persons, like you learn how to become obviously a doctor, and you learn stuff to do in the ward itself.
Yeah.
Is
And you don't have to have like a hurry to learn that, because you will do that. You will learn. There's no hurry to go where. You go in the 3rd year or in the 4th year. It doesn't change. The things that you learn are the same, and so
And
the path is the same.
I have a very cool, like now thinking about your path. When you went abroad, in London and in the Silicon Valley, they ask you what do you do, and you, as everyone doing medtech, you start explaining like I do medtech. What's medtech? Is medicine plus engineering, and they say biomedical engineer. They didn't understand anything.
No, they say, oh, that's so cool. You will be. Someone told us in the Silicon Valley. Someone told us, with these 2 degrees that you will have more competencies than 90% of the people here. Which is not bad.
Which is not, which is very very cool. Which is very very cool.
And
But-
I mean, Silicon Valley is all
The
great.
best.
Yeah, the best.
Yes.
Genius. Yeah.
And like they are very surprised when you say like you do medtech, because maybe like obviously maybe I don't know, around Milan or in Italy you say medtech and they are like, okay, what is it? When you explain, then they understand and they are like, okay, cool. But like also in Silicon Valley and in London, they see what they see from outside. What's the potential they see from the outside when you just present your CV or your stuff and say I'm a medtech?
I think they can see that you have a different way of approaching things. So, for example, the project I was kind of the project I'm working on right now. It was particularly suitable to my profile because I had kind of both knowledge, so I could arrange myself both in the life science stuff and the engineering. So they see this and they think, oh, that's so cool because maybe we need a figure that has competences on both, and so they see potential in this. Most of the time, of course, I've never seen it. I mean, usually people appreciate this kind of broader knowledge.
Yeah, this can be also like talking about your research and like a new step in education that like push forward also the research itself, because like now we are missing figures that bridge the gap between biology, medicine, and engineering stuff.
Here they are.
Yes, here they are, exactly. And like from Silicon Valley, they were very surprised. They offer you a job.
One at a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted us in his company, but you know, at the beginning they're very surprised. They're like, "Wow, that's really cool and interesting." But then, you know, it's like this double degree counts on the CV, but at the end of the day,
It's you.
it's the person, exactly. So they start to, at the beginning they're impressed and positively affected, let's say, but then they are just curious to see what you want to do, what is your perspective on things,
Who you are.
basically, and it all
Also, what you
reduces to
took
the
from
yeah,
what you took from your studies.
exactly.
Ah, yes.
Exactly,
Yes.
and what you want to do and how.
I was very surprised, honestly, to see that much excitement in people about us, because again, we went to very big institutions that I would never have thought to even reach when I started my first year. So in again, London, UCL, even New York, they were all like, "Oh God, that's so nice." I thought, oh, why were you so excited? You're like
That voice.
you're like in an Ivy League school, like top of like you've been my dream forever, and you say I'm exciting. That was kind of surprising for me.
But because they are not offering the same course.
because it's a kind of unique it's a unique path that usually in the US it's either like sort of blended with a PhD, or maybe it's a longer path. Well, we grow with that double mentality throughout our after high school, which is something I think quite unique, and so people are surprised by that.
Yeah, because like studying because someone can take 2 degrees, like can be doctor and then take an engineer or both.
Yeah, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah, because you're studying in the same moment, the 2 different stuff. It's also like for plasticity. I don't know if in this context is right to use the term plasticity, but your brain starts to train on switching between 2 way of studying, 2 way of relying. This double soul of the degree, I think, is the most fascinating. Like, is the
Exactly.
Also, a surgeon who knows the software, the hardware of what they're using, because I think by the time that we graduate, and even right now, most of the surgeries are becoming less and less invasive and robotic. So if we know how to build that robot in the first place, that makes us stand out as doctors.
Yeah, but I think one last thing, I don't want to take too much time on this, but what you can see from the research papers you read is that it's very divisive. So sometimes if the technology implies a part which is more clinical and a part which is engineering, sometimes, not always, and some studies are very high quality, but actually many times it happens to you that you see two logics which are completely different and sometimes conflicting one among each other. So that's why I was saying I am very proud of my path, because maybe I will be able to see them not in such a divisive way, the two worlds. So you can really see this happening, which is a problem in the community, and hopefully, it will be better.
And another thing is that from my experience, this is something that really fit your startup idea. Is like because every time, like I'm from Bocconi, they always say like you have to look at the market and see the holes that are in the market, covering the needs. And I think like that MEDTEC and like the study path you have done is perfect, and you are an example of covering the needs of what we were saying, like
The fusion.
The fusion, because like you as a doctor can see the needs, but you can also fill the gaps. So it's like is what they're doing now, because for example today we went to the 3D lab and they said like, oh no, we just print stuff that doctors said us to print, but it's like I don't know. It's good. It's good, obviously. But what did you do? What do you do with your startup? Is exactly this. I think.
Yeah.
Like.
I agree. Thank you.
And what would be your advice to a prospective MEDTEC student? Like, why should they choose MEDTEC instead of MED, or why should they choose MEDTEC in general?
So exactly this is the point. You don't have to choose medtech over medicine necessarily. It depends on what you want to do and on what inspires you the most. Okay, but if you choose medtech, be ready to
Get in the flow.
yeah, to get to the he always completes right in the right way. So yeah, you have to enter this river, because when we started, at least we had no idea where this would take us to. You get to learn a lot of things. You have to be plastic, and in the end, you meet a series of tools through which you can express yourself in the world. MedTech is one way, medicine is another. Is equally valuable to me, I think.
I think that they are also for different person. Like it's not obvious that a medtech would do medicine. Like it can be that your path is medtech, but not like completely. Like if you would be a doctor, you wouldn't be happy, let's say, in your life, because you need the both combined.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
For example, for me, like the medicine, the standard medicine, was not an option. Like, not a real option, like, or medtech or other stuff.
Yeah, for me it was like I wanted to do medicine, and then I learned about this program, and I love physics, so I said why not? Because I think, as I said, we're living in a world where technology dictates everything. Technology, advancements, AI, this type of stuff. So a doctor who doesn't do research, for me, isn't going to be as valued as a doctor who does by the time we graduate, or maybe even now.
Yeah.
So this is why we chose it in the first place.
Yes.
Good perspective.
Right, guys.
And as a final suggestion, if I may, to the prospective students,
Yes.
either in medicine or in medtech, if you want to do something and you are scared, that's completely normal. All of us passed from that. But then, once you put yourself in difficult situations, or challenging situations, then your mind is enforced to expand and adapt. And then you overcome the barrier.
Plasticity. Always plasticity.
You overcome the barrier, and finally you find out what's next.
This is how you develop as also a human, I think. Human.
Person.
Yeah. So if I have just one suggestion, is this: if you have like the feeling you would like to do something, do it.
Yeah.
No question. Yeah.
Me too. I would like to close with this, and Antonio, if he wants. How big would you dream if you knew you couldn't fail?
That's nice.
Yes.
Really nice.
Yeah. I don't know. I think our talk motivates all our. I think one important thing that you can hear is that after 5 years, I think I would do it 100%.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And that's a good
perfect.
message.
yeah, that's empirical.
I really thank you all for this
Yes.
pleasant
Yes.
chat.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for following the podcast, the BOMBOCAST, and see you next episode.